welcome to the Habitat Home Show here on DATV. I am your host for this month's episode, Laurie Cornett Cross, and I'm the Development Director at Habitat for Humanity. We have a super exciting show for you this month, and so just sit back and relax, and let's get right into it. For our first segment today, we are very happy to welcome Laura Moore, who is the chairperson of our Women Building Together program. And Laura, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
We are very excited to talk about this project that seems to have, it's been around for a few years, but it seems to have gained some new momentum this year.
Yes.
So if you can just share with our audience, what exactly is Women Building Together at Habitat?
It's a program that empowers women to build stronger communities, and we try to design it, towards getting a hardworking single mom with children, to get them in a decent, affordable housing is what we want to do. And then we just try to get women on the site to work. There are women on other sites, but we try to gear it towards just women, but we welcome men, of course. Yeah. But we need to stress to the women that, that anybody can be on the site and do the work, because, there's a lot of people think that, I don't have any construction skills, so I can't build. Well, that's not the case. It's once you get there, and if you've got the willingness to learn, it's really amazing. You walk away with learning a skill and having the confidence that, hey, I was able to do something, that I can take back to my own home, and that yet I'm helping out a family in need, which is tremendous.
Yes, it is. So this is our fourth year for Women Building Together, which we used to call Women Build, but we've
Right.
had a little bit of a rebranding.
Mm-hmm.
And talk a little bit about what initially drew you to this particular project. I know you've been involved with Habitat for some time, but what about the Women Building Together program really interested you?
Well, just the fact that it was women-based, that it brought a group of women together. That, like I said, we would never thought in this field that you would have this happen, and so because the prospect of Habitat for Humanity always was construction, so you just never thought that you would see a lot of women on the site. Right. Or helping out. And women are in their homes 99% more time than men, and so they know all about the ins and outs of their homes, and they know what they expect, and that's what they're trying to do for families too, to help these young families get into a house that they can be proud of and all.
Yeah.
And so, our branding was Women Building Together. We wanted to show the fact that we do come together and, do a great project.
Absolutely. And this year we are so delighted that the family for our home is Chrissy and her two children. Mm-hmm. And would you like to share a little bit about their story? She's a single mom. She's a single mom, and that's kind of been the focus of Women Building Together. Am I right about that?
That's correct, yes.
Yes.
And I know, we're going to be doing it in Greene County, which Women Build is not built in Greene County before. I know we've started mm-hmm. doing it, but for Women Build project, this will be our first year there, which we're excited about.
Yes.
We've been in a lot of different areas over the years, but this is one that we're looking forward to.
Yes, we're actually going to be building in Fairborn, mm-hmm. and Chrissy and her two children are very excited mm-hmm. about moving into the house. So let's talk a little bit about the timeline for this. And if I were watching and I'm interested in getting more involved and helping support this, mm-hmm. what kind of a time frame are we looking at, and what do we need right now?
Well, right now we need of course sponsors. You always have some donors or sponsors to help build the house, because it is fully not funded. We know we get volunteers to do the labor. We do need to have people to help us in the material wise. So if you're interested at all, contact Habitat. If you want to volunteer, you contact Habitat. And we're going to be building probably, I would say, late July, August is what the time frame is right now. So there's plenty of time to get involved. And so you can contact the Habitat office and talk to Kim or to anyone really there, but Kim is our Women Build coordinator, and she can help you out.
Great, yes. So. And if someone were interested in donating cash, of course, is always a great way to support it. What kinds of in-kind items would you be looking for a project of this type?
Well, of course the mechanicals, plumbing, electrical, heating, you would want, try to have somebody, because on those areas you've got to have a licensed contractor. Women cannot do that. So for those areas, that's your most expensive items in your house. And then material-wise too, you figure you have lumber, you have roofing, you have siding, there's concrete, so all those things. And then inside your house, you have cabinets and flooring, paint, and trim. So when you think about everything in the house is what we need to try to get donated or help out with, give us a very good pricing, I guess I should say. But whatever we take, we're most grateful for.
Absolutely. And I know that there is a committee that you chair. Is there any place for someone who is interested in joining the committee? Because we are several months off from actual building. So is that something that someone could do if they were interested?
Oh yes, very much so. We would like to grow our committee, so that we'd have different phases on our committee to help out. Because there's, you have to have marketing, and you want someone in the construction part, and then doing events. Because we want to get our name out, with the new branding, Women Building Together. We really want to reach out to all kind of people in the area, and women-owned businesses too. We want to let them know what this is all about. So,
well, I thank you very much for joining us today and sharing information and your enthusiasm for Women Building Together. Thank you very much for all that you do for Habitat. And if you're interested in learning more about Women Building Together, again, as Laura said, please call the Habitat office, ask for Kim, or visit our website at DaytonHabitat.org and click on Women Building Together. So we would love to have you join us. Thank you again very much, Laura, for coming out today.
Thank you.
That was really great information about our Women Building Together program. And speaking of building and taking care of things around your own house, now we have one of our most popular segments. It's called Norm's Know-How. Norm Maiozzi is the Director of Operations at Habitat for Humanity, and he has filmed a segment for us, which is very timely now that it's finally started raining and we can get back out into our yards. He's going to share with us today how to repair your exterior faucet. So take a look.
Hello and welcome to the April edition of our Habitat Home Show. I'm Ashley Reeves, volunteer coordinator, out on site with Norm Maiozzi for everyone's favorite segment, Norm's Know-How. So it's April, and Norm's going to show us how to do some siding repair. We know it can be windy in Ohio sometimes, so Norm's going to show us how to repair some siding. So take it away, Norm.
Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and the thing is, like Ashley mentioned, wind can sometimes make your siding start to flap and come loose. Also, a lot of times along the bottom edge or something like that, it gets bumped by a lawnmower, bumped by whatever, you get a hole in your siding. If you have a piece of siding that matches, it's really easy to repair. You don't have to be afraid of it. And same thing, pretty much two tools that come in handy, hammer, and then the other is what they call a siding zip tool or a ripper or something like that. These are the siding tools are usually about $5 or something like that at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're available anywhere.
Nice.
But what that's for, if you'll hold that for me. Okay, so with the siding, it's basically locked up underneath. And all you have to do with the siding ripper is if you can get near the end or a seam, if you can get this started underneath and get that started, pull down a little bit. Once you get the siding loose, you can simply pull it like so, and then you can see that piece is loose, right? So if this is the piece you're trying to repair, simply hammer, pull that up a little bit, and then just start to take your nails loose. And a lot of times the nails will actually even pull out. Pull that loose. Pull that loose. Once you get all the nails loose. Okay. Two pieces are loose. If this is the piece that you're replacing, snap down, there it is.
Live action.
Right? Now, when you go to put it back, simply work it into the J channel on the side. And then snap that back up. If you have it snapped into place, it will stay there. And then real quickly, I'll pick up a few nails. Okay, now the one thing when you go to put it back, or put your new piece back, if you can find the holes where they were, and put a few of them, use a few of those holes for your new piece, what that'll do is that'll keep this piece of siding right in the right location.
Okay.
And so that when you snap this next piece in, it actually snaps in properly. So you kind of put a few of those. I'm going to skip over the rest of the nails so I can show you how to put this back. So once you get that started, if you kind of hit it down just a little bit and you're siding, you're just working it along. There you go, snap back into place.
All right.
You're done.
Now that's fancy. So that is great. Our volunteers actually do this on site, so they get to learn kind of how all the siding goes about as well and all that jazz. But now you guys at home will know how to do it as well. So there should be no missing siding from your house because Norm just taught us how to fix it. So thank you so much, Norm. Very educational as always, which is why you're our favorite segment. So, all right, back to the studio. Thank you.
Speaking of spring and being outdoors and being able to work on things like exterior faucets, isn't it time for maybe some spring cleaning at your house? When you're doing that spring cleaning, we hope that you'll keep in mind the Habitat for Humanity Restore, where we are happy to take your donated items to resell to the public at a great cost. We can, there's a large list of items that we can accept, and if you look on our website at DaytonHabitat.org, you can get a little more information. So please keep us top of mind as you're doing that spring cleaning. And we have a little commercial to show you that just might help you remember Habitat as you're cleaning out some things in your house. Take a look.
First, I want to thank you all for volunteering to help Habitat for Humanity build a house. Your participation means so much. We couldn't do this without you. So, any questions? Come on, don't be shy. No such thing as a silly question, guys.
Donate and purchase from the Habitat Restore. That helps build houses.
No, you don't need to be able to hold a hammer. Anyone else?
And for our next segment, we are very excited to have with us today Diane Graham, Executive Director at Habitat for Humanity. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk a little bit today about where Habitat's been, where we're going, some exciting new things, and how our services are continuing to make an impact here in the community. So I just wanted to start, Diane. You know, we'll be celebrating our 35th anniversary next year.
Yes.
And Habitat has done a lot of wonderful things in those 35 years. So if you could just reflect for a minute on where we've come since we started and what things kind of look like for the future as far as how we serve families in the area.
Well, I wasn't here in the beginning, but I was close to the beginning.
Yes.
As we've said before on this show, there were some of the folks, our founders here in Dayton, were at the founding of Habitat International in 1976, and we were the oldest affiliate in Ohio. But I would say that we were very grassroots for a long, long, long time, and very Christian based. So we were very small. We didn't have our own place. We were in church basements, but we still had the mission at heart. We knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to utilize the principles as set forth by Habitat, but we really didn't have the infrastructure yet,
Right.
like we do now. So we knew we were going to serve a family. We were going to offer them a hand up, not a handout. So our first houses were not new construction; they were rehabs, and they were donated. And so you know, some of those folks are still with us.
Yes.
Some of them, the area that we started in is Lower Dayton View, and that area has undergone urban renewal. So luckily, those folks made offers on their homes that they couldn't refuse. But we do have some of our original families still in those houses.
That's great.
But what we've been able to do over the years, I believe, is continue to build on those principles, and we've added to our curricula, as you know. We have 6 months of training that we do now, and in those days we probably did maybe a couple hours of home maintenance, and that's just because we needed to teach them how to maintain their own homes, because many of our folks are first-time home buyers. And we definitely wanted to get a couple budgeting courses in there, because we did expect for that mortgage to be repaid from the very first ones in 1980. I think if we were incorporated in 83, I think our first mortgage was about 84, 85. So we wanted those folks to start paying us back, and so we have added on to that class list. As you know, we offer health and nutrition now, we offer legal, we offer 9 sessions of budgeting, where you come up with your own budget now, and every scenario about how to come up with a budget that you can afford and still, pay for your home in your shelter monies.
Yeah.
And why we all should have a will, why we all should have insurance. All these things are a lot of things that we probably take for granted, but maybe if you didn't have that opportunity, you didn't know that.
Right.
But we make sure that all of our homeowners are exposed to that now.
Yes, I know we do have a strong curriculum, and I think that, well, I think we know that that's really helping our families change generations of behavior and the timeline of the generational impact for their families. We're really able to see that now, and talk a little bit about the success that we're seeing in individual families who have been with us long enough in the program that perhaps some of their children are older now.
Right.
And talk a little bit about some of the great successes that we're seeing.
Well, I can think of 2 right off. One is a lady that was actually so successful that she has actually sold her first Habitat house. She actually married a gentleman and outgrew her Habitat home, sold it, and paid us off, and then bought a house. She qualified for a regular standard mortgage.
That's great.
And everything about that is a success for Habitat. And she has a young child with her husband now, and but the child that she had prior to that is at Ohio State. So, I'm taking full credit for being able to offer the shelter to him. But she talks about, and she, by the way, is a self-employed beauty shop owner.
Okay.
And so she talks about the envelope system type budgeting that she learned in our classes that she still employs. But not only did she apply that to her home budget, when she first got started, because most people that are in the hair and nail business are contractors at first, and so they're paying booth rental, to whoever owns the shop. So she was able to use the envelope system and make that successful, and when the opportunity came, she bought the shop in which she worked, and so she's the owner of the shop now. So the envelope system as taught by our classes worked. And then there was another instance of that. Now, with that young lady, when she first got exposed to that information, was probably in her 20s. We have a couple that actually went through our program in their late 40s or maybe early 50s. And they had children that were in either nearing high school or in high school ages. And you know how when the kids have to go on a field trip, and you know about the field trip from the beginning of the school year, but yet when you have to come up with the money for it, it's painful sometimes. But he told us, the husband and father told us, that for the first time ever, because he knew about the fact that each child was going to need, let's say, $200 to go to Washington, D.C., to go on this trip, they could budget for it, and it was the first time ever that the children got to do that activity, and yet no bills went unpaid. And that is a huge success. And I also take credit for the fact that they have the shelter that homeownership affords.
Yes.
I mean, we hear countless stories about, you hear about bullying and what we're going to do to protect kids from it, but it's that shelter from that every day. They have the same house to go home to every day. So
Great things, and I know that there are multiple families that same scenario applies to. The children are, many of them, the first in their families to go to college.
Yes.
So they're achieving far more because of that stable shelter environment. And we like to say at Habitat, as you know, that we are not just about building houses, but we're about building hope.
right.
And along with that, after 35 years of doing wonderful things and focusing mainly on building wonderful new houses and having the great support of a lot of local people, we know that the landscape has changed a little bit, and that the talk in our community is about collective impact. And how can we all work together as nonprofit organizations serving these families to ensure that we're maximizing our resources and reaching as many people as possible? And I know that we've talked about an exciting new concept at Habitat, and it's called the Building Hope Fund.
Yes. And we actually just talked about it this morning at our finance committee meeting. And so it sounds more like a construction concept, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But we talked about it because one of our finance director actually was talking about a prior experience in repair, and how grateful the elderly woman was that had experienced the repair that allowed her to stay in her home. And it's not really about the repair itself, but it is the actual verb building hope that it afforded her, and she used it. I mean, the folks that are allowed to stay in that house are saying it themselves. You allowed us to have hope that we could stay in this house, because all we saw was the mildew on the wall, the water coming in, the fact that I got a citation from the city and I had 90 days to fix it and no means or ability, and I'm 80 years old, so we were told by the folks that we were able to help, you gave me hope.
Yes.
And that's kind of how the phrase was coined, but you kind of alluded to the collective impact. It's what we're all doing in Dayton. We're trying to work together. We're trying not to duplicate services. We're trying to help each other provide services so that we can wrap around these ladies who probably, they're fortunate enough to live in this house, but they're not going to be able to stay there if it's falling down around them.
Yes, so very, very important points that helping elderly age in place, very important in so many ways, and also helping any families with special needs, children or special needs members of their family, helping them be able to stay in their home as well is just beneficial across so many spectrums.
And I think we haven't, you're not even hearing every story. There's a family that is soon going to be purchasing a rehab house, but that lady is caring for her brother with a developmental disability. So, I mean, how many of those stories, and, it does, yes, I'm sure there is, probably some federal funding that goes into his support, but how much more would it be if he were in a nursing home?
Yes, exactly.
There you have it.
Right, exactly. So there's a lot of ways that Habitat continues to serve in the community, a little bit of an evolution from our roots. So thank you so very much for being here with us. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Well, I hope you thought that was as great a show as I did. It was great for our guests to be here. Thanks to all of them. And so for our final segment, we're starting a couple months ago we started the What's Happening at Habitat. So the big thing that's coming up at Habitat is in July. On July 15th, we'll be holding our annual signature fundraising event. And we have a French theme this year. I will try to say it properly for you. Une soirée à Paris. And that event is July 15th in the McClin Room at the Nutter Center at Wright State University. This is going to be a fabulous evening with great food, silent auction, a great band. This Side Up will be performing, and we also have a few very special entertainers that I think will definitely help make the evening worthwhile as well. So we encourage you to put July 15th on your calendar. Come out in support of Habitat. It is not a fancy black tie affair. You can wear your comfortable summer clothes. The most important thing is that you're there with us to celebrate Habitat and support our mission. For more information on how to purchase tickets for the gala, please go to DaytonHabitat.org/gala, and you'll find all the information you need, or call Kim at 586-0860, and she will be happy to help you. So we're looking forward to that event, and it'll be summer by the time gala rolls around, and what that means is we will be on a brief break from the Habitat Home Show. We don't film over the summer, so we hope that you all have a wonderful, enjoyable summer. We look forward to seeing you on July 15th at our gala, and we'll see you right back here in September. Thanks for watching.